Lil Durk. Man, I tell you what, this situation with Lil Durk just keeps getting worse. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody already knows that he was arrested a while ago on a murder for hire plot that resulted in the death of Quando Rondo's homeboy and cousin, Lil Pop. Right, well, news is breaking today, right now, that the feds actually intend on indicting him on a second murder for hire plot. Yup, you heard that correctly. Now, the paperwork that was revealing this was just unsealed because Lil Durk was scheduled to do a detention hearing today where he could have received a bond. So I guess in order to stop that, the government has decided to pretty much unseal this paperwork that says they are going to indict him on a new murder for hire charge. Now, this news was broke by the Chicago Tribune, and they posted this article right here that says, in newly unsealed court records, Lil Durk, who's already facing murder for hire charges in Los Angeles, has been linked to the fatal 2022 shooting of an alleged gang leader outside of a community center on Chicago's far south side. The warrant application was filed in April of 2023, but was not unsealed until Wednesday in advance of a scheduled Thursday detention hearing in Lil Durk's murder for hire case. The newly unsealed filing in the U.S. District Court of Chicago alleges Banks was behind the January 27, 2022 killing of Stephen Mack, who was 24 years old and was shot to death shortly after he exited the Youth Peace Center. And at the time of his death, according to the FBI, Mack was the leader of the Smashville faction of the Gangster Disciples. Now, this guy right here, Stephen Mack, apparently is the guy that people think killed Lil Durk's brother D-Thang, right? D-Thang died a few years back, and we actually heard Lil Durk rapping on his song Aha, talking about he had got get back for D-Thang, saying this right here.
My brother D-Thang just got killed and I've been slow since. They like Durk, his ass a singer, he won't smoke. You can bleed whatever you want, I got your folks here.
Now, it seems that the truth is indeed stranger than fiction, because I have no idea why Lil Durk would be rapping that on a hit record and actually probably be behind the hit of the guy that killed his brother. It seems pretty reckless to me, but hey man, what do I know? If you're out here putting hits on people, I don't really expect you to be the type of person to try to keep it a secret either. Now, it says right here in this article, Banks' brother, Dante Banks, was shot to death outside of a nightclub in South Suburban Harvey in 2021. According to the warrant application, another Gangster Disciples faction with ties to Smashville carried out that murder. It's got a quote here that says, Lil Durk was and is still offering money for people to kill those responsible for his brother's murder, and more significantly, offering to pay money for any Gangster Disciple that is killed. Now, it says right here that Lil Durk has not been charged in connection with this investigation. So he hasn't been charged with it, but pretty much the feds have unsealed paperwork that lets everybody know they intend to charge him with it. So it is coming, and it is coming soon. Now, remember, they unsealed this because he was going to a detention hearing, and it says, in asking for pretrial release with electronic monitoring, Banks' attorney said that the artist would put up his 2 houses in Georgia with a combined $2.3 million, as well as another $1 million in cash from Sony Music to secure his bond so that he could be let out. Durk's attorney also pointed to state charges brought against him in Georgia that stemmed from a 2019 shooting that happened in Atlanta. And the reason why he brought that up is because he was granted pretrial release before those charges was eventually dropped in 2022. It said the best determiner of how an individual will act in the future is how they have behaved in the past. And Mr. Banks has showed that he respects the orders of the court and has been an ideal candidate for pretrial release, which I don't know about all that, bro. Yeah, sure, he was released in this case and then the charges were dropped. But right before he was charged with this, they caught him booking multiple plane tickets out of multiple different airports and essentially trying to flee the country. So when his attorney says the best determiner for how an individual will act in the future is how they behaved in the past, it's not really a good look if you ask me. But in response to that request, federal prosecutors said that Durk proposed bond conditions were woefully inadequate to protect the community and vital witnesses from harm, and that they wouldn't mitigate the defendant's risk of flight. Now, a quote from the prosecutors and what they said in And this paperwork they filed is evidence collected in this case also shows the defendant has allegedly placed monetary bounties to solicit other murders, including a family members of a witness. Defendant's modus operandi is clear. He will use his power, his money, his influence in any pretrial release to endanger anyone who he perceives as a threat, including witnesses to this case. Now, they pretty much have pointed the finger at Durk for hiring somebody to kill this Stephen Mack guy. And earlier this year, 2 people were actually charged with conspiracy to commit murder for hire in that case. However, Lil Durk's name wasn't mentioned in any of the paperwork online about that case, but there was paperwork posted by the government a year ago that said those 2 guys were hired to do that murder. It says here that in probing Mack's death, federal investigators analyzed jail phone calls, social media postings, firearm purchases, as well as lyrics from Lil Durk's song Aha, released about a month after the shooting. The warrant application goes on to say that the 2 guys that were charged with the killing of Mack may have exchanged text messages concerning payment for Mack's murder. So Lil Durk was not smart with the phones. We seen that in his first indictment. He was texting people, don't book no hotels under my name. And this paperwork that they're saying they're going to charge Lil Durk with, apparently they have messages between him and these other guys that he hired. It says that those 2 guys were arrested on unrelated charges a few weeks after Mack's death. A detective from the New Lenox Police Department then applied for and was granted a warrant to search the contents of their cell phones. Investigators then discovered a 2-person text message conversation that mentioned OTF, which we all know to be Lil Durk's crew. And prosecutors say that on February 10th, 2022, one of the people in that text conversation asked, "What's up with OTF?" to which the other person responded, "Nothing." 8 days later, in the same conversation, another text message read, "Did Durk give you the money?" That's crazy, bruh. Now, you heard them mention that they were using lyrics from his song Aha against him. And in a statement last week, Durk's attorney said, when you see an artist rap lyrics quoted as evidence against them, it's a glaring indication that there is no real evidence against that person. The real truth is that Durk Banks is a Grammy award-winning artist, a dedicated father, and a loving husband. Mr. Banks has been intensely committed to giving back to the Chicago community he loves through his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation and has put on more than a dozen charitable events over the last few years. He is looking forward to fighting against these false allegations in court. And newsflash for Durk's attorney, doing charity does not exempt you from being charged with murder. I mean, it's cool that he was giving back to the community, but if he really is guilty of doing these things, it doesn't take away from the seriousness or the severity of the charges, right? His attorney is defending him right now in the public eye, but as time goes on, he might be looking more and more like this Drewski skit.
We got good and bad news. Good news, we got your payment, buddy. Bad news, they gave you life. Sayonara.
Yeah, bro. So that's what we got. Notable moments from this. They've got text messages and jail phone calls. They got 2 people already in custody. I don't know if those people have talked or if they haven't talked, but it's important to note that Durk hasn't been charged yet, but he has been linked to this second murder for hire. And according to the paperwork that was just filed, they do intend on indicting him. If convicted on this second murder for hire charge, Durk will have to face life in prison. Not to mention if he is also found guilty on his first charge. I don't know, the chances of him beating this thing look slimmer and slimmer as time goes on, but y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about it in the comments down below. Anyways, that's basically it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, tap the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. As always, it's been fun rocking with y'all, man. I'm out.